Hi everyone, thanks for joining. My name is Melissa Lefebvre and I work with the Canadian Wildlife Federation as part of the education department. And I also get to work with the gardens around the building. So that's why I'm here today to talk to you about building a garden dish. So, the Canadian Wildlife Federation, we are one of Canada's largest conservation organizations with over 300,000 members across. So that's pretty impressive. We help Canadians of ages and all shapes and sizes appreciate nature, and we hope to leave behind healthy habitat and wildlife for future generations. So how to make a garden dish. So this could be your final product. We'll move along here. So just so you know what to expect, we'll talk about why you should create a garden dish and how much fun it is. We'll look at the materials that you need and the how-to step-by-step, and then we'll talk about aftercare. So why build one of these really cool garden dishes? First and foremost, when you have your hand and you're working with plants, you're connecting to nature. Do you ever know what it feels to splash in a puddle? Well, to do a lot of this kind of thing with creating this garden dish. You'll get to learn about some really neat plants and ecosystems that you might not otherwise get to see, like a desert ecosystem or a jungle ecosystem. Certainly with our cold winters in Canada, we aren't able to grow types of things in our gardens very successfully, but in a little indoor garden container dish, you can get to see these really cool in action. You get to be really creative. So for all the artsy types out there, you get to pick the different kind of container that you want to choose. You can choose the design too of your plants and how they'll be arranged. Hang on. Oh, I guess that technology is not going to work. The ones toward the back are getting taller. So it's just the short ones, the tall ones in the back. So that's one thing to keep in mind with plant design. But you can do whatever you like. You don't have to follow that rule, especially if you're going to put this little container in the middle of a room. These also make a fantastic gift or decoration. And with Mother's Day on the way, I think Mom would really enjoy this. So the materials that you'll need are all here. We actually got to make one of these ourselves in the office last week. So these are the materials that we use one by one. You're going to need plants first and foremost. We use succulents, so these plants that can survive very dry conditions. And oops, sorry, I skipped ahead too quickly there. If you care to, you can check that you can get these anywhere, like Home Depot or Canadian Tire. Any of the garden centers should have these. For your container, you can get really creative. You can use anything that you find, really, anything in the garage or in the basement that's already there, some baskets, some old pots, even an old baking dish would do. Or you can just go to the dollar store or somewhere really inexpensive and pick up a bowl or some plant saucers. You're going to want to choose a planting medium over soil, just because these ones are free of microbes and they won't have any little weeds in them, so it'll make your life a lot easier that way. You're also going to want to have some pea gravel or some regular gravel, just something that's not too big or not too small, something just in between. You'll want a soil cover as well. So something really decorative. It can be whatever you want it to be. It can be big rocks, small rocks, crushed seashells, sea glass, whatever you would like to see on the top of the soil, just for fun, for decoration. And now I'll show you how to. So I took these photos last week with a colleague of mine who helped out. So thank you to Carol for agreeing to help out with this process. So first things first, you're going to want to take your pot and add a really thin layer of the pea gravel to the bottom of the pot. And this gravel will help for drainage. So if you are watering your garden dish and there's a bit too much moisture, a bit too much water, all the water can kind of pool down at the bottom in the gravel and the roots won't be sitting in it that way. So you're going to want a big enough layer, but it has to be relative to the size of your pot. So if you have a really big pot, you're probably going to want an inch or two of the pea gravel. If you have a really shallow saucer like we have, you're probably only going to want 1 centimeter or less. So once you've got this all figured out, then you're going to add your dirt right on top. So another thin layer, but this time of dirt. Then comes the fun part. You get to take your plants and you can kind of shuffle them around and see how you'd like to have them. And that's about it. You can shuffle it until you find an arrangement that you're really happy with. And again, with the design, usually you are going to want the plants that will grow tall in the back and the shorter guys in the front. So you can do a little bit of research on each of the plants before you start planting them. Then you're going to want to take the plants right out of the pot. Gently kind of separate the roots, and what this does is it gives them the roots space to grow and be comfortable because they've been confined in that little tiny pot for a long time, you can imagine. And here's a really good tip, and we did learn this the hard way. You're going to want to make sure that your container is going to be deep enough for the roots of the plant. So a good rule of thumb is just to look at the size of your pots and make sure that the dish that you choose is at least that deep, if not even more so. That way it will comfortably fit the roots. So we had to start over with a deeper dish in the end just because we knew the roots were not going to be happy. We probably could have gotten away with it for, you know, maybe a few months, but then after a while the plants would start to be stressed out. So we just started over with a big dish. So it's a real life experience here, and you guys get to learn from it. Then you're going to want to place your plants directly on the soil, okay, so according to the design that you chose. And then you can kind of start roots into the soil, so you start planting. But you're probably going to need to add more soil to help cover the roots really well. As much soil as you can fit in the pot. And then you'll want to firmly pack the soil down. So you're going to want to press around the roots and make sure that they're nice and secure, and make sure that there are no air packets in the roots. Because that's how microbes get in and harm your plants. So it's an important step. Then you add your soil cover. So we just used our pea gravel that we had, and that worked out just fine. But again, you can get really creative. You can use marbles, you can use crushed seashells, whatever you would like. And there you have it. That is the finished product. So that would be a fantastic Mother's Day gift, I think, or a gift for any time of the year, really. And it's very low maintenance as well. You're going to want to water it though. You can do some fun extra little bits as well. You can always add in little stones that you find outside. You can add in some of your favorite little toys. Maybe you have little toy frogs or even dinosaurs or whatever you like. You can add that in. The aftercare is super simple. You're going to water your little container garden every 1 to 3 weeks roughly. So it's going to depend on the types of plants that you're using, and it will also depend on how big the dish is. But you just want to check. So you just stick your finger kind of in the soil, and if it's still kind of moist, you don't need to water it. If it's nice and dry, you're going to want to water it, but then again. But especially if you're using succulent plants, you won't have to water them very frequently. Another thing, as far as aftercare goes, you may have to replace some stressed plants. So if your plants start to look like the plant in this picture and they kind of look a little brown or yellow, or they're a bit droopy, they might be kind of stressed out because there's not enough space. So you can simply remove that one and replace in another. So a big special thanks to Carol for helping me out with this project. It's always good to acknowledge the people that help you out. And thank you to Robin and Sarah for your creative ideas. So educators, you can contact me for any questions that you may have, or if you'd like some more fun project ideas. That's great. Have a great day. Thank you for watching.